The road stretched on endlessly, winding through the dense, forbidding forest. The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting eerie shadows that danced across the asphalt. My knuckles were white as I gripped the steering wheel tightly, and my heart raced with every passing mile. I had always heard stories about this road, about the strange occurrences that happened here at night, but I never believed them, until now. It had all started innocently enough. I had been on a business trip driving through unfamiliar territory to reach my destination before sunrise. My GPS had led me onto this forsaken road, promising it was a shortcut. But as the miles stretched on and the forest closed in around me, I began to doubt its wisdom. The forest on either side of the road seemed to close in on me, the branches forming gnarled, skeletal fingers that reached out to grab me. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves in the breeze. It was a stifling silence that made my skin crawl. I glanced at the dashboard clock and it read 2:37 a.m. I had been driving for hours, my eyes heavy with fatigue. I needed to find a place to rest, but there was no sign of civilization for miles. The road seemed to stretch on forever, a dark ribbon cutting through the heart of the forest. Suddenly, my headlights flickered, then went out completely. Panic surged through me as I struggled to control the car in the darkness. I pulled over to the side of the road, my heart pounding in my chest. I tried the headlights again, but they remained stubbornly off. Come on, I muttered, frantically flipping switches and checking fuses. But nothing seemed to work. I was alone in the pitch-black forest, miles from help. I reached for my phone to call for assistance, but there was no signal. I was truly on my own. With no other option, I decided to get out of the car and assess the situation. The night air was cold and damp, and the forest around me seemed to close in, making me feel claustrophobic. I opened the car door and stepped out, my flashlight in hand. As the beam of light pierced the darkness, I saw something that sent a shiver down my spine. There, in the distance, was a dilapidated old house. It looked like something straight out of a horror movie, with broken windows and an air of decay that hung heavy in the night. My instincts told me to stay in the car, to lock the doors and wait for morning. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that something was lurking in the shadows. I needed help, and that old house was my only option. I cautiously made my way toward the house, each step echoing loudly in the silence. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the faintest hint of a mournful tune. It was a melody that sent a chill down my spine. The front door of the house creaked open when I pushed it, revealing a dark, dusty interior. I stepped inside, my flashlight revealing a decrepit, abandoned living room. The furniture was covered in tattered sheets, and cobwebs hung in the corners. The air was thick with the scent of mildew and decay. I called out, my voice echoing through the empty house, but there was no response. It was as if the place had been deserted for years. I continued to explore, my flashlight leading me deeper into the house. Every creak of the floorboards made my heart race, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was not alone. My footsteps echoed through the dark hallway as I reached a staircase that led to the upper floor. I climbed the stairs slowly, the wood groaning under my weight. At the top, I found a hallway lined with closed doors. My flashlight flickered as I tried to open one of them, and when I finally succeeded, I was met with a sight that made my blood run cold. Inside the room was a decaying old bed. On it lay a rotting corpse, its hollow eyes staring up at the ceiling. The room was filled with the stench of death, and I stumbled back in horror. I turned and rushed down the stairs, determined to get out of that nightmarish house. But as I reached the front door, it slammed shut with a deafening bang. I tried to open it, but it was as if it had been bolted from the outside. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped. I turned to run back up the stairs, but a figure appeared at the top, bathed in the sickly glow of my dying flashlight. It was a woman, her hair long and tangled, her eyes empty sockets of darkness. She began to descend the stairs slowly, her movements unnatural and jerky. I was frozen in terror, unable to move or even scream. As she drew closer, I could see the tattered remnants of a white dress clinging to her rotting flesh. And then, she spoke in a voice that was a chilling whisper. "You should never have come here." I finally found my voice and screamed, but it was too late. The woman reached out and grabbed me with a grip like ice. Her touch sent searing pain through my body, and I could feel my life draining away. As my vision faded to black, I couldn't help but wonder if those stories about this road had been true all along. And as the darkness swallowed me whole, I knew that I would never find out. Time seemed to stand still as I lay in the darkness, my mind a whirlwind of fear and confusion. When I finally awoke, it was to the weak rays of dawn filtering through the cracks in the boarded-up windows. The house was silent, and the oppressive sense of dread still hung heavy in the air. I struggled to my feet, my body aching from the ordeal of the previous night. My flashlight lay on the floor nearby, its feeble beam of light still flickering weakly. I picked it up and cautiously made my way to the front door, half expecting it to be locked or blocked in some way. To my surprise, the door opened easily, revealing the dim light of early morning. I stepped outside, the fresh air a welcome relief after the stifling atmosphere of the house. My car sat where I had left it, its headlights still dead, but otherwise seemingly undisturbed. I couldn't get away from that place fast enough. I climbed into my car and started the engine, praying that it would cooperate this time. To my immense relief, it roared to life, and I wasted no time in putting distance between myself and the nightmarish house. As I drove away, I couldn't help but reflect on the events of the previous night. Had it all been a hallucination brought on by exhaustion and fear? Or had I truly encountered something otherworldly on that accursed road? Days turned into weeks, and I tried to put the experience behind me. I told myself it had all been a nightmare, a trick my mind had played on me. But there were moments when I would catch a glimpse of my reflection in the rearview mirror, and I would see the haunted look in my own eyes, a constant reminder that what I had witnessed was all too real. I couldn't shake the feeling that the woman in the white dress,